All right, final section, streamers of the week. We'll probably go a little bit rapid fire on this one. Quarterback streamers of the week. So this is people who are on less than 60% of ESPN fantasy rosters. We're in a QB2 league, so the QB streamers are pretty irrelevant for us, but it's kind of hard to choose. But who have you got on here as the best streamer?
Yeah, so for the QBs, we've assumed it's a one QB league for those playing at home, but Derek Carr only on...
How is he not in 80% of sides?
Couldn't believe it.
And he's gone up this week. So before this week, he was on like 40.
Yeah, it's weird. But he's playing the Chargers, who actually have conceded a lot of like passing yards and touchdowns every week. So if Derek Carr is available and you need a QB this week, he's 100% the man for you.
Yeah, don't get scared by last week's stuff. They were in horrible conditions. They showed this field goal attempt and it started on the right post and just swerved past the left post because of the wind. And he only threw it 24 times, which is rare for the Raiders. But he's only had 2 turnovers in the last 3, so he's a pretty safe streamer. And yeah, as you said, Locke chopped up the Chargers on the weekend, so I'm sure Carr with better weapons and Locke can chop them up. And he's my main streamer, but also just a shout out to Nick Mullins. If you want to be risky, I think he's a pretty spicy option because Jimmy G's out for a little bit, so Mullins is going to be a more than a 1 week option if you see him that way. And yeah, the 49ers do have a tendency to run more than pass. That's what would scare me, but especially this week, they've got the Packers, so you think they're going to have to throw because of the game script. So I think Mullins could be a spicy pickup, but yeah, Carr's definitely the best streamer, 100%. Running back.
That game is going to be a shootout because both teams don't have a backfield, so both are just going to be throwing. It'll be a saucy one.
Yeah. I don't know who's Mullins throwing to, by the way.
Yeah, well, actually, Ayuk's just been put on the COVID list.
Yeah.
And Deebo Samuel's out and Kittle's out.
Yeah, and Kendrick Bourne. I'm pretty sure Kendrick Bourne's the bloke who tested positive. So I actually don't know who's left. I don't know who the other players are.
Mate, that's actually disgusting.
Got to bring Dante Pettis back from death.
Mate,
running backs.
Yeah, all right. So maybe don't stream Mullins this week after
go Carl.
Running back. My one is, this is assuming Chris Carson is out, which I'm hearing he most likely will be. He's still projected 16 on ESPN or whatever, but he's going to be out most likely. So DeeJay Dallas, he's the last man standing in the Seattle backfield, just scored 22 against the 49ers. Because of 2 touchdowns, but I'd say he's pretty much a lock to score a touchdown in that Seattle offense, and he's going to get all the opportunity to himself. Probably isn't the best player, but opportunity is key, and being in a good offense.
He looked crap, and then he just whipped out 22.8. He looked like he was struggling, but
and the Buffalo, Buffalo, who have been pretty average against the run.
Yeah, 8th worst in yards per carry, and he scored 22.8 against a good defense in the Niners. He had 12 red zone opportunities last week, so targets plus running attempts, and the game script would suit again if things go to plan because they should take the lead early against Buffalo and he can run it down. My only worry is obviously if Carson plays, but also Travis Homer. He's a bit of a myth, but last week he was active, but he was basically injured, so he only had 10% of snaps. And when Carson originally got injured, Homer was actually the guy who came in, and then he got injured, then Hyde came in. So I'm a little bit scared of Homer taking Dallas's snaps. That's the only thing. But yeah, if Carson is out, he's probably got to be the guy you got to get. And I need a streamer this week because I have Gaskin and Henderson, so got my finger on the trigger, waiting for Carson to be ruled out. But yeah, he's probably the best option. The other guys who are interesting, Zach Moss against, it's not really interesting. It's just he gets bulk red zone touches. He rushed for 8 red zone. He rushed in the red zone 8 times in the first week of the season, and then last week he had 6. So he can just occasionally be a red zone threat. And yeah, he's got a low floor, but he's got a high ceiling. So if you want to be risky there. if you want to just play it really safe, I'd go Naheem Hines, basically a lock to get 4 catches for like 40 yards. So if you want to
Cool.
get something around the 10-point mark, go for Hines. And then another guy with a pretty high floor is Damien Harris. They're against the New York Jets. So if you think the Patriots are going to score a lot of points, he's probably a good chance to run one in. So he could be worth a risk there. Wide receivers.
I want to throw out Matt Breeder as well.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he's Boris, but they've got no one else bar Jordan Howard, who's strictly a goal line man. So Breeder should get some decent work. Wide receiver, pretty yuck, to be honest, on the streaming side of things. You wouldn't really want to be starting this bloke. This is probably if you've got 2 or 3 injuries, but Corey Davis against Chicago was like the best man I could find. I was going to say Ayuk, but he's just been ruled out on the COVID list. So Corey Davis been copying some good targets. Tough matchup, but I mean, he's in that Titans offense, so he should have some decent opportunity. Might score a touchdown. And if they decide to lock down AJ Brown, which they probably will, Davis might free up. So could be a decent play.
Yeah, I rate that. Davis is definitely a good option this week. This is a very rogue one. So you probably have to be in a deep league and you probably have to have 2 wide receivers and a flex. And this is probably a flex, but they're up against the Jags and it's Randall Cobb. I think Cooks and Fuller, obviously the 2 main men there, but I think they're going to absolutely bombard the Jags this week. I'm kind of worried what Deshaun Watson's going to do for your side, Pilch. I think he's going to absolutely kill it.
For that.
But yeah, I was looking at the Jags. They've yielded the most air yards per attempt. They've conceded the 5th most points, but that is including a bye. So on average, it's probably even further up. The Houston don't care about game script. They throw whether they're up or down. And Cobb saw 10 targets the week before the bye. And he's copped a red zone target in each of his last 2 matches. So he's been very inconsistent and he's missed practice this week because he's sick. But if you need someone just as a really weird flex option, he could be a chance to put up some points. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes. All right, last but not least.
I just thought of someone else. I'm not actually sure if he's in under 60%, but Marvin Jones. They're playing the Vikings and Golladay's out. So
yeah, that's a good.
If he's on waivers, definitely stream him
or
if you need someone.
Even Marvin Hall. But yeah. All right, tight ends.
I've got Robert Tonyan.
Yeah, same.
Down here. They're playing the Niners, which isn't the best matchup, but as we just spoke about, they'll be throwing the ball, and out of all the blokes on less than 60% of rosters, he was pretty much the only decent shout that I could find. So, yeah. I'd go snag him regardless because just like going forward, I reckon he's a pretty good shout rest of season.
Yeah, he's been axed from 20.7% of rosters this week after a 7 target. He scored 12 against Minnesota. I'm so confused why. But yeah, he still sees good volume, so he's a pretty safe streamer. A risky one, if you want to bite into it, is Greg Olsen. He saw 2 red zone targets last week. Seahawks are likely to put up 30 plus against the Bills. And yeah, Olsen is one of Russ's favorite red zone targets that is not Lockett and Metcalf. So limited volume. I don't think he's seen more than 4 or 5 targets a game, but high scoring potential. But yeah, that's all I've got for us today. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, that's it.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening and enjoy the NFL Week 9.
Queensland! It's a miracle! Oh, yeah! What about that one? Unbelievable! Balotelli! Aguero! Crowd cheers. Here's Siddle.